Part 58. Being a Bug in a Survival Game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 576. When Assistant Solo first got off the plane, he was carrying the small suitcase with one hand, and now he is also carrying it with one hand. However, the free hand on the other side is vaguely blocking the front of the small suitcase. The small suitcase shouldn't be very heavy, but the items stored in it. Gucci quickly looked away to prevent others from noticing anything was wrong. If I remember correctly, is it the time for the prisoners to come out for labor corrections? When passing by the ranch, Zorro only saw the machines running continuously, but did not see any sign of the prisoners, so he asked. "Oh, that's it? Because you, teacher, visited the island in person, the warden gave those prisoners a holiday." After Guding explained, he turned to look at Gucci. "This is all the warden's good intentions." Gucci looked at the others calmly and said calmly, "It's just one day, it won't have much impact." "So that's it." Hearing the reason, Zorro suddenly realized, as long as it doesn't affect. Gucci's eyes were indifferent. Influence. Zorro said that he was worried about affecting the quality of the experiment. In the laboratory, Solo turned to look at his assistant, who quickly reacted and came over with a small suitcase. Solo handed the crutch in his hand to Guding beside him, and then took the small suitcase. Various passwords were set in the small suitcase. After a series of decodings, Gucci finally saw the true face inside. Inside, there are 5 glass test tube bottles filled with unknown liquids, each of which is about the width of 2 adult fingers. I saw Solo treating these test tube bottles with an extremely cautious look on his face. After putting them into the laboratory's special storage mechanical box, he slowly breathed a sigh of relief and turned to look at them with a smile. "To everyone. My mission this time can be considered completed. The 5 potions I brought are still in the testing stage, and it took a lot of manpower and financial resources to refine this potion. Please remember to treat it with caution. Is teacher?" "Understood, doctor." Gucci glanced at the location where the potion was stored. At this moment, Zorro's voice suddenly came. "Warden Zhang, the safety of the laboratory requires your attention." Gu nodded and said, "It's just a matter of duty." "That's good." Guding suggested, "Teacher, why don't you take a look at our recent results first?" Zorro put his hands behind his back. "Okay, take them all out." As soon as the words fell, all the researchers started to move. Seeing this, Gucci knew it was time to leave here, so he took the initiative to say, "Dr. Solo, I have other important matters to deal with, so I won't disturb you. See you in the evening." "Okay, see you tonight." After coming out of the laboratory, Gu stood there for 2 seconds and then walked away. At this time, in the lounge, Chu Xinyu was extremely bored, so she used the nail clippers she carried with her to sharpen her nails to pass the time. Chu Xinyu wanted to stir up a topic from time to time, but was fooled by Shan Yu, who was pretending to be stupid. Not only does he fool him, but he can also occasionally use Chu Xinyu's tricks. But when Chu Xinyu was upset, Shan Yu started making trouble again. "Old aunt, what did you eat this morning? Old aunt, how much makeup do you need to put on every day to cover up age spots and wrinkles? Old aunt, tell me quietly that you will live a long life this year? Don't worry, I won't mention your friendship." Being a Bug in a Survival Game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 577. "Old aunt, why are you looking more and more ugly? Are you feeling unwell?" Gucci stopped outside the door of the lounge, and he could hear clearly what was going on inside. "That's enough. Shut up." Chu Xinyu's pent-up anger burst out, and she glared at Shan Yu with a gloomy look. Outside the door, a flash of surprise flashed in Gucci's eyes. This madman also gets angry sometimes. Gucci paused for a few seconds, then reached out and pushed open the half-open door, interrupting the weird and tense atmosphere in the lounge. As soon as Shan Yu saw Gucci appear, he immediately stood up and said goodbye to Chu Xinyu with a faint smile. "Old aunt, I'm leaving. Just wait for your sweetheart to come." You. Chu Xinyu subconsciously glanced at Gucci at the door, who showed no reaction on his face. However, he kept standing at the door without leaving, obviously waiting for Shan Yu. Chu Xinyu felt a little surprised. Is this dead girl really capable? This NPC warden came to pick her up in person. Is he really interested in her? Seeing that Shan Yu was about to come out, Gucci turned around and left. After walking for a while, Gucci suddenly said, "What kind of person do you think that woman is?" Shan Yu, who was following behind, looked slightly startled. "You said the song is not over yet." She is very extraordinary." Shan Yu thought about the two of them alone. "Although I have always had the upper hand verbally, that person feels invisible, as if there is another layer hidden. I can only say that no wonder that ancient head took a fancy to her." Shan Yu sighed a little, then suddenly thought of something, and a trace of curiosity appeared in his beautiful eyes. "By the way, since we know her in real life, you should know how old she is, right?" "Why are you asking this?" Gucci didn't understand. Shan Yu looked at the man's back, shook his head and said, "You men don't understand. What women care about most is their age and beauty. The more extraordinary Chu Xinyu is, the more Shan Yu needs to be on guard and vigilant. She is a citizen of China. To put it modestly, if there is a top 10 list in the entire entertainment industry, she will definitely be on the list. And Chu Xinyu speaks fluent and natural Chinese language. It is obvious that he is a native of China, or has the experience of living in China for a long time. So, it is probably only a matter of time before Chu Xinyu discovers her true identity. Now that the tension has been drawn, Shan Yu must know more about Chu Xinyu and be mentally prepared." Gucci thought for a moment and replied, 50, around. Tisk tisk, 50 years old. With her face and figure, it's no exaggeration to say she's the same age as me. Shan Yu, who will be 24 in a few months, marveled. How does a 50-year-old woman maintain herself to this extent? Shan Yu couldn't help but be a little curious. However, Shan Yu was not moved. Whether she can live to be 24 is still unknown, so how can she think about turning 50? Then what's her real name? What do you do in reality? Where do you live? Along the way, Shan Yu asked questions about Chu Xinyu from time to time, waiting for Gucci's reply. Seeing that this woman was about to keep asking questions, Gucci glanced coldly. "We'll talk when we get back, but shut up now, understand?" Shan Yu made an okay gesture, and then, as if he remembered something, he said, "By the way, in the lounge just now, that person indeed knew my identity, and he always wanted to show off his cards." Gucci looked at Shan Yu again. "So, you are angry with her?" No, Shan Yu was very innocent, she was obviously very polite. Shan Yu was short-lived. As for the reason, it is somewhat complicated. Because she believed that she didn't have much time left, her personality was somewhat willful and undisciplined, and she acted solely based on her personal mood and preference. Even if the end of the world comes, it has nothing to do with her. Maybe she is quite happy because she can have so many people die with her. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuan-K. Chapter 578. Under Gucci's continuous gaze, Shan Yu finally added silently, "Ahem, I guess you just fooled me." "That's okay." Gucci said two words lightly, turned around and left. Seeing this, Shan Yu quickly asked, "Where are you going next?" Follow up. Since Gu is still the warden now, he naturally has to deal with some matters that the warden should handle. During this period, Gucci also went to see what was going on with the performance team, and there were basically no surprises. Except during this period, a woman actually wanted to hook up with the warden, but before she could actually implement it, she was chased away by the warden's lover walk. In just half a day, a rumor spread among the prisoners. The warden's lover was not only a vixen who used unfair means to charm the warden, but was also arrogant, specializing in bullying and suppressing the many young and beautiful female inmates in the prison. When Shan Yu learned about this nonsense rumor, he silently glanced at the man who was processing the documents. Tisk. He has truly become a tool man. At around 5 o'clock, Gucci and Shan Yu went back to the warden's residence. Hey, you guys are back. As soon as he entered the door, Su heard the clear and crisp sound of fish. What does that Dr. So-and-so look like? He is almost 190 years old. Will he look like an old zombie? Can he walk on his own? Or can he walk like flying? Su Tingyu couldn't wait to come over and ask questions. Gucci's eyes were silent for a moment, and then he passed directly over Su Tingyu as if his whole body was soaked in ice water, filled with cold air. Ah, Su Tingyu tilted her cute head in confusion. Shan Yu stretched out his hand, rubbed Su Tingyu's little head, and explained, by the way, ahem, I annoyed him with questions on the road before. Oh, I see. Su Tingyu suddenly realized, and then complained, I have no patience at all when it comes to girls, huh. On the other side, Gucci explained the new situation to Qin-Chi. Zoro brought something here that I haven't had the chance to touch. Remember to look for it when you go to the laboratory later. Okay. Qin-Chi nodded. When Su Tingyu came to Qin-Chi's side, she heard Gucci continue to warn. If it has no value, it's ruined. In addition, Solo and Guding will watch tonight's performance, and other members of the laboratory will most likely not go. Then you can pretend to be Solo and Guding and enter the laboratory. Hearing this, Su Tingyu blinked his big eyes. We have never seen Zoro, how can we pretend? Even the disguise potion must be based on the user's imagination, and now no one from Solo has seen it, let alone what it looks like. I pulled out a piece of surveillance. Take your time and take a look. Gucci had already thought about this situation and immediately pulled out the airport surveillance. Wow, 185 years old. Tisk, tisk, I believe you even if you say you are an old man in his 50s or 60s. Su Tingyu couldn't help but exclaimed when he saw Solo's too young face in the surveillance camera. Did you see the box that assistant took? The things are in it, but they have been taken out. Gucci raised his finger and pointed at assistant Solo on the screen. The few people talked for a long time, and the time came to 6 o'clock in the evening before they knew it. The welcome dinner held for Solo officially began. In the Jewel Hotel, the people who came to attend the dinner all had a decent smile on their faces. Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 579. At this time. Outside the laboratory. Fat man, please screen off a small area outside the laboratory and pay attention to whether any prison guards are coming. If they come. Okay, boss. The members who infiltrated the laboratory are, Su Tingyu and Qin-Chi. Because the shielding range of the jammer was limited, Su Tingyu and others considered it carefully and decided to leave one person outside the laboratory to shield the machinery and equipment outside, in case any sound coming from the laboratory attracted outside attention. Therefore, Fatty was assigned to guard outside and be responsible for controlling the jammer in the laboratory outside. As for the other jammer, it must be kept in the laboratory for use. Gucci had also stepped on it beforehand and knew that the shielding range of the jammer was enough to cover the entire laboratory. 10 minutes later, Su Tingyu and the others arrived at the experimental area. Ordinary prison guards and inmates were not allowed to enter, and there were many checkpoints to check their identities. Even though the electronic ID cards of the three of them were high-ranking among the prison guards, they were not allowed to enter. It wasted a lot of time. Another 10 minutes had passed when the door to the laboratory was in sight. Fat man, if you are smart, you can release Big Hui and the others. In an unmanned men's restroom, they first installed a blocker in an inconspicuous corner, and then adjusted the shielding range to cover the entire men's restroom. Sutingyu and Qin Chi began to take the disguise potion. Sutingyu turned into Gu Ding. Qin Chi became Solo. Sutingyu took out the Angel Stone tablet and released Dewey and his neighbors. You guys help Fatty guard it together. If anyone approaches the laboratory, knock him out or scare him away. Don't expose yourself. No problem, master. Okay, landlord. The neighbors of the original Angel apartment were a little excited to finally come out to play, and agreed without saying a word. Well, you sneak out first and see if there is anyone nearby. After Sutingyu gave the order, Dewey and his neighbors started to sink into the ground, and then several black shadows that were difficult to detect with the human eye floated in different directions outside the toilet. There's no one in any direction. There's no one at 3 or 4 o'clock. There's no one at 7 or 8 o'clock. After checking the uninhabited direction and area, Fatty controlled the shielding force field of the shield to spread in that direction. The route from the toilet to the laboratory was gradually covered by the jammer, and Sutingyu and Qin Chi set off immediately. The door of the laboratory was equipped with an electronic password and a series of facial recognition. The two of them had already learned the password from Gucci, so they could easily open the door of the laboratory with their current faces. Inside the door is a long passage that extends all the way in. There are several small doorways on the left and right, some with closed doors and some with open doors. The innermost one, at the end of the passage, is the main experimental site. Huh? Dr. Solo and Dr. Gooding? Didn't you go to watch the show? At this time, a researcher holding paper materials walked out of a small room. When he saw Sutingyu and the two of them, he was very surprised. Quick! Take out the CS-541. I almost forgot. Gooding's face suddenly changed, his eyes were extremely nervous, and he even raised his arm and pointed to the other end of the passage. Huh? What happened? The researcher was immediately confused. Seeing that Dr. Gooding's anxious expression did not seem to be fake, he began to make up his mind. Is there something wrong with CS-541? Okay. I'll call Dr. Zhao right away. Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuan-K. Chapter 580. Recruiting doctors. Recruiting doctors, come quickly. The researcher's loud voice immediately confused the nearby colleagues who were still concentrating on the experiment, and big question marks lit up in everyone's minds at the same time. What happened? What happened? My key data, I almost made a mistake because of my shaking hands. Xiao Lu, what's wrong? Some people complained, some were confused, and Dr. Zhao, whom the researcher who was deceived rushed over to ask about the situation. Yes, it's Dr. Gu, he. Sutingyu took a few steps forward and said, in the afternoon, the teacher forgot to mention one thing. CS-541 will have unstable movements every once in a while, showing signs of corrosion of the carrier. It must be replaced on time. Go check it out quickly. Click CS-541. Qin Chi cooperated with Sutingyu's performance. I'm old and forget things. Just in case, I'll go check on CS-541 first. Okay, Dr. Solo. Dr. Solo, who symbolized authority, spoke, and Dr. Gooding, the main person in charge of the laboratory, was present. Although the incident happened suddenly, Dr. Zhao did not doubt that he was there and quickly turned back to find CS-541. Seeing this, Sutingyu and Qin Chi followed behind, while the other researchers couldn't stand when they heard that something big might happen. Except for those who really had a lot of work to do, almost everyone else followed. In the main experimental site, Dr. Zhao unlocked many restrictions, took out the saved CS541, and then opened the test tube carrier outside, revealing the 5 test tubes inside. It's okay, Dr. Zhao took a closer look and made sure that CS541 was intact, and he said with a sigh of relief. That's great. Nothing has happened yet, right? After all, the researchers breathed a sigh of relief. Qin Chi, who was walking behind, installed the jammer close to a console and quickly turned it on. In an instant, all the machines in the entire laboratory were forced to sleep, even the running machines. What's going on? Why did the machine stop? My evaluation results and data haven't been saved yet. The small group of researchers who were still in the small room conducting experiments were the first to notice something was wrong. Their shocked voices came out, confusing the researchers present. Someone also tried the identity machine, but naturally the machine had no response. What happened again? Quick, go see if other data has been saved. In the crowd, Dr. Zhao's voice was like a sedative. As soon as he finished speaking, the rest of the people wanted to go back and check again. We are recruiting doctors. CS541 will be kept by my teacher first. You should also quickly check the experimental data you are responsible for. At this time, Guding suddenly approached and reached out to take the CS541 from Dr. Zhao's hand. No. You're not Guding, Dr. Zhao, who was holding CS541, suddenly shouted loudly and immediately moved away from Guding. His eyes were full of vigilance and shock, because I have an old habit, I haven't done any experiments for a month, everyone in the laboratory knows this, and Guding also knows it. Who are you? Why are you pretending to be Guding? Dr. Zhao's words made all the researchers present look at Guding with doubts in their eyes. Hey, I'm done playing. Faced with everyone's suspicion, Guding sighed slightly, then raised his arms and shouted, Wenchen organization, do justice for heaven. Everyone hold their heads and lie down. Don't move. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Being a Bug in a Survival Game. Author, Kuan-Ke. Chapter 581. Wenchen Organization? Among the researchers, a plain-looking man with glasses looked at Sutingyu with confused eyes. I was deeply shocked in my heart. Someone from the organization is here. You're actually pretending to be Guding this time? Are you so bold and know how to play? The bespectacled man's inner drama became more and more intense, but when he heard that he was a companion of the suspected organization, his heart dropped by half. No. As a professional spy who has been lurking for many years, we cannot act rashly. Let's take a look at the situation first. What if there is a scam? This possibility does not exist. The man with glasses has seen it before. The scene at that time was so difficult to distinguish between true and false. It turned around and over again. He was dumbfounded for a while, and he was still glad that he was just a member of the crowd and not a bunch of people being tested. Otherwise, it will definitely be doomed. Wenchen organization? What kind of evil way is this? Isn't it that neurotic Wenchen organization? Thinking that it represents God to exercise justice. This kind of cancerous organization. How can it exist? The man with glasses shrank his head silently. Although he was very angry in his heart and wanted to defend himself that he was not a lunatic, his face showed a righteous expression. That's right. What kind of thing is Wenchen? Well, I don't count scolding, because the great and glorious Wenchen organization is not a thing at all. I bear the humiliation on behalf of Wenchen, and I believe that God will understand my difficulties. There are just 2 of them, let's go together. Take down these 2 crazy people who don't know the heights of the world. Yes. Kill them. It would be a pity just to kill him. He could be a guinea pig for experiments. Such arrogance popped up from almost everyone's mouth. Seeing this, Sutinyu raised his eyebrows slightly. Kikai, I'll leave the rest in the small room to you. Okay, a voice came from behind. Sutinyu raised his eyebrows confidently and twitched his fingers. With his sharp mouth and monkey cheeks, his yellow-skinned old face looked as vulgar as he wanted. Come. It's just a dozen or so, it's a small scene. Sutinyu was so calm. Although a group of researchers stayed in the laboratory all day long, they were still a group of men, including some who were relatively young. Facing Sutinyu alone, even without the assistance of machines, they were full of confidence at this moment. When Sutinyu saw a group of people trying to swarm up to subdue her, she waved with one hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, a small broken flower jumped out of the inventory. Come on, Mr. Sutinyu had a firm aura and said only one word. After receiving the order, the little broken flowers suddenly grew to about 2 meters in height, waving their canes to slap the researchers. What the hell? Is this a mutant species? Where did it come from? Run, run, run. There are more than a dozen gods. He is clearly a researcher of an unknown mutated species who has the power to torture and abuse people without restraint. Don't talk about martial ethics. As expected, a group of researchers with rather weak physical abilities were quickly tied up one after another by the little losers. At first, the bespectacled man, who was worried about accidentally injuring friendly troops, hid on the edge of the corner, and became the poor person who was about to be oppressed by Xiao Kanhua in the end. Wait. One of our own. I am the organization's informant. Seeing the cane of the little broken flower sweeping in his direction, the bespectacled man quickly jumped out to reveal his identity, and he was instantly attacked by the shocked and angry eyes of his former colleagues. But the man with glasses couldn't care less. If he doesn't come out, he's afraid he'll take the pill. Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 582. Something unexpected happened. Sutinyu's eyes widened slightly, and she forgot that she had an old face now. With this expression, she seemed to be glaring at people angrily, as if a volcano was about to erupt. The boy with glasses was afraid that Sutinyu would not believe him, and his face was filled with anxiety. Really? Really? I really am. We are all asking the sky. We are a family. We are tired of logging. Sutinyu blinked. No, no. Did she really just mention it casually? Did she really bump into a spy from the Zhen Wenchen organization? Do you believe me? Do I look like a fool? Sutinyu raised her chin slightly, with a face full of threats and intimidation. I'll give you 10 seconds to prove your identity, otherwise, I'll be the first to click on you. As he said that, he put the 5 fingers of his right hand together and placed them in front of his neck, making a click gesture. No, 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 the man with glasses waved his hands quickly, and his brain began to work rapidly, trying to come up with some evidence to prove his innocence. Suddenly, the man with glasses glanced at the motionless machine beside him, and his face lit up with joy. All the machines and equipment in the laboratory suddenly became unusable and fell into standby. You must have used the organization's jammer. Hearing this, Sutinyu's eyes flickered. Wow. He's not really a spy, is he? I still provide the machine data throughout the prison, so the jammer can easily block all the machines in the prison. As for the limitation of the jammer, currently only the shielding range is not large enough, and there is no way to block the entire prison. Having said this, the man with glasses unconsciously felt a little regretful. You spy. Well done to you, Yan Cheng. It turns out it was you who did the good deed. When the researchers heard that the man with glasses was the culprit behind the machine's inoperability, they all broke down and began to curse. Yan Cheng could not care about so much now. In order to prove his identity, he also revealed his code name and position in Wenchen organization. My name is Yan Qing, I am 59 years old, male, and I like women. I have done my best for Wenchen. I have shed blood for Wenchen. I have endured humiliation and endured heavy burdens for Wenchen and tasted the courage. I am Wenchen's great hero. After some operations, Sotingyu was a little dumbfounded. This big brother's desire to survive is very powerful. Ahem, I believe you for the time being. Since he pretended to be the Wenchen organization at the beginning, Sotingyu simply pretended to be the Wenchen organization to the end. However, if you do anything strange, I will leave you to feed the flowers as soon as possible. As soon as Sotingyu finished speaking, 7 small broken flowers opened their large buds in unison, revealing the stamens with iron teeth inside. Threatening Yan Qing. Absolutely not. Absolutely not, Yan Qing quickly expressed his position. Okay, go and get all the CS541s and give them to me. Sotingyu didn't want to use the labor that came to his door for free, so he immediately issued the first order. Okay, Yan Qing was refreshed, knowing that he was temporarily out of danger, and now it was his turn to hand over the certificate of surrender. Yan Qing. You scoundrel, Dr. Zhao hugged CS541 tightly. He did not dare to rush forward. There were several untied researchers blocking his way. Sir, could you please do a little favor to your little plants? Keep these people under control. Although Yan Qing wanted to submit a certificate of surrender, he didn't really want to be reckless. It was okay to bully Dr. Zhao, an old man who was hundreds of years old and still suffering from ailments, but he had to face the siege of several men. Does he look stupid? Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuan-Ke. Chapter 583. In the end, the little residual flowers came out and tied up everyone including Yan Qing. Hey. The wrong person was tied up. The wrong person was tied up. Yan Qing was about to cry but had no tears. He really didn't understand. Sotingyu clearly believed that he was from the Wenchen organization, so why did he still need to tie him up? But no matter how he thought about it, he would never have thought that Sotingyu believed that he was a spy of the Wenchen organization, so he tied him up. Because Sotingyu knew very well how the jammer came about. At this point, 5 CS541 reagents fell into Sotingyu's hands. All the researchers glared at Sotingyu, but there was nothing they could do. Now I finally know what this thing is. Sotingyu thought to himself the moment he got it. Props, mysterious reagent of destiny. Grade, unknown. Function, directly injected into the body, nothing may happen, the whole body may fester and die, or the world may suddenly acquire some magical ability. People in the world who have been teased by fate, do you dare to bet? Whether the copy can be brought out, no. Usage, disposable. Note, dear friends, it's time to compete for character. Sotingyu, He can understand the words on it when he takes them apart, but when they are put together, why is it a bit confusing? Unknown? This is the first time I've seen a prop with an unknown grade. Even before her scythe mutated, the grade had a clear range. A prop whose function is unclear and may have side effects? Damn it, is this work in vain? Qin Chi came in from the passage, and he had already taken care of the people outside. Kikai, come here. Seeing Qin Chi coming, Sotingyu quickly waved. As soon as Qin Chi approached, Sotingyu stuffed a CS541 reagent into his hand, and the former's panel also popped out. After spending more than 10 seconds reading the panel content, Qin Chi's eyebrows frowned slightly. Item of destiny. Seeing Qin Chi's reaction, Sotingyu quickly asked, Kikai, do you know what this is? We'll talk about it after we get out. Put it away first. Business is more important. Qin Chi returned the reagent in his hand to Sotingyu. Oh, that's right. Sotingyu was about to put away the 5 reagents, but because there were NPCs present, he couldn't put them away openly. Hey, Brother Yan, are there any bags or something like this in the lab? It should be easy to carry. Yan Qing, who was in a state of depression, suddenly became excited when he heard that Sutingyu was asking for help. Let me go and I'll tell you. Ah. Before Yan Qing could finish his words, two small broken flowers spontaneously ran up to him. Their buds looked like the bloody mouths of wild beasts, which frightened people immediately. Sutingyu asked again, what? Say it again, I didn't hear it clearly just now. The things you want are on the fourth floor of the A-379 counter. Yan Qing didn't dare to be a little trickster, so he explained honestly. However, machines usually control the opening and closing of cabinet doors, but now they are blocked. Yan Qing's warning voice just came out, but the next second, he was completely speechless. I saw Sutingyu had a half-meter long stick in his hand, and then he poked the cabinet door. In an instant, it was worn. Sutingyu rummaged through and found a small pocket, and pretended to put the reagents in it, but in fact he put them in the inventory. Then in front of everyone, he zipped it up and hung it around his waist. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Being a Bug in a Survival Game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 584. I'll go, this is not scientific at all, Yan Qing muttered with blank eyes. Sutingyu geared up, okay, let's get down to business. Time is also a bit tight. The laboratory is not small. If you want to accurately find the useful results inside and make them your own, you need an acquaintance. Then, Sutingyu was untied by the tool man Yan Qing. Brother, I'm just being a little more cautious. You don't mind, right? Sutingyu said with a smile, as cordial as he wanted. I don't mind, Yan Qing shook his head repeatedly as he watched the small broken flowers nearby begin to vaguely surround him. Then hurry up and tell me what research results there are in this laboratory that are worthy of being taken away. Yan Qing was stunned for a moment. Are you here to rob? No, Sutingyu said righteously, we are here to uphold justice and destroy the evil laboratory. Taking away the results is just incidental. This. Yan Qing felt a little untrustworthy. But Sutingyu was right. This kind of inhumane laboratory should have been demolished long ago. Okay, I know there are some, but I can't get them. They're all locked by encryption. Hi, you just need to tell me the specific location. Sutingyu grabbed the meteor rod with a calm expression on his face. Involuntarily, Yan Qing recalled the scene just now. Finally, he said hesitantly, okay. In the next half hour, more and more researchers became uneasy and even roared. Yan Qing. What are you going to do? Yan Qing, I'm going to kill you. Don't go there. Don't take my results. Yan Qing said that he was also innocent and he just pointed at a location. Then, Sutingyu pierced it with a stick and took out the contents. If one stick can't solve the problem, then use two sticks. Sutingyu also picked out some of the better achievements, while destroying the other achievements that were of little benefit or even anti-human. Whether the results were taken away or the results and data were destroyed, this group of researchers was deeply distressed. If you want to resist, the rattan wrapped around your body will tighten and tighten. Moreover, Qin Chi was watching from the side. After Sutingyu rummaged through everything, he chose to completely destroy the entire laboratory's machinery and experimental equipment. There was a ping-ping-pong-pong sound. After dealing with the laboratory, there are still dozens of researchers. How to deal with these NPCs? Get rid of them all? Sutingyu glanced slightly and landed on the angry faces. She clearly realized that even if he wanted to show mercy, these NPCs probably wouldn't be grateful. People, let me handle it. Qin Shi took a few steps forward, and at some point, he already held an ancient bronze sword in his hand. Seeing this, Sutingyu threw away the last trace of doubt. It's so tiring for you to be alone, I'll come too. One head after another with a stick, the brains exploded and flowed all over the floor. Yanqing knew that Sutingyu and the others had no intention of attacking him, so he became bold in an instant. Brother, you don't have to feel guilty. These people are not good people. They all have people killed on their hands. What about recruiting doctors? I remember that in March last year, we lost 22 young girls in a row. To be more specific, Yanqing didn't want to talk about it. He had been lurking in the laboratory for many years and had seen many evil people, but DR recruitment was the most disgusting. Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 585. Kill everyone in the laboratory. All experimental data, results, and equipment in the laboratory were destroyed. Qin Shi, leave the jammer here for now. Time is running out. It's time for us to leave. After everything was taken care of, Sutingyu glanced around and landed on Yanqing, the only survivor. He rolled his eyes slightly and said, "Brother, as for you, just stay here for one night to provide cover. We have other tasks to complete." "Ah? What mission?" Yanqing asked subconsciously. "Of course we're going to eliminate the root cause." Sutingyu tilted his head and said in a matter-of-fact tone. "Eradicate the roots? Are you going to attack Solo and Guding?" Yanqing thought for a moment and saw the meaning of Sutingyu's words. "Right." Sutingyu informed Yanqing of some plans for tomorrow's laboratory, of course, only part of them. Okay, Yanqing nodded repeatedly. "I will actively cooperate and complete the organizational tasks." "Very well, this mission is over and you can leave the prison." Okay, Yanqing was overjoyed. God knows how miserable he was mentally tortured by facing a group of scientific lunatics all day long. Moreover, the island prison cannot come in and out at will, and can only live in a laboratory without any entertainment facilities. If it weren't for the support of his belief in loyalty to the organization, Yanqing would have been unable to bear it long ago. Copy time, 21:58. After watching the performance for about 2 hours, Solo felt a little tired and raised his hand to press his temples for a while. Guding noticed Solo's condition and suggested, "Teacher, it's getting late, why don't you go and have a rest? Aren't you in a hurry to go back tomorrow morning?" "I'm old, I'm getting sleepy easily." Zoro sighed slightly and stood up slowly. "Okay, I'm going back to the room first, you young people can play for a while longer." "Teacher, walk slowly." "Doctor, walk slowly." After seeing the protagonist off, Gucci waited for a while and then stood up to express his intention to leave. And just after Gucci left the viewing area, Guding chased him alone. "Your Excellency, Warden, please stay." Gucci turned around and asked, "Do you have anything else to do, Dr. Gu?" Shan Yu, who was standing next to Gucci, had a hint of curiosity in his lowered beautiful eyes. "Warden, it's like this." Guding's eyes lingered on Shan Yu for a few seconds, and then he continued, "Warden has been playing for 2 days, must he be tired of it? How about we switch and add more fresh?" When Shan Yu heard this, his eyes almost popped out of his head. Damn it! Is the private hobby between the Warden and Guding so exciting, and exchange women? Sorry, I want to stay for another 2 days. If the doctor gets tired of it, you can find a new one, Gucci replied in a calm tone. Hearing this, Guding's face showed regret. "Well, since the Warden likes it, let's wait 2 days before talking." After they left, Shan Yu blinked her beautiful eyes and said, "If you agree, Chu Xinyu will be sent to your room tonight, and you can deal with it how you want." But Gucci didn't reply, but walked away. Seeing this, Shan Yu followed, and then heard the man's calm question. "What? You really want to serve that old man? Does he have such a strong taste? Shan Yu choked, and his expression remained unchanged. Who wants to serve? Wasn't she thinking from Gucci's point of view? Sacrifice a woman with whom you have no friendship in exchange for the opportunity to take advantage of your enemy. Very reasonable. Don't think about it, just stick to the plan, and I won't let that person go.